Let's hear from people in the audience, the most important people, because without you, I'm a guy in a room with a mic and no one's listening, and it's sad. Okay. We don't want that. Let's start today with Rose, I guess, calling from the United States. Is that you, Rose?
Yes. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes. The United States is so general. You could be anywhere, you know?
True. Privacy preserving. So, did you watch the launch of the SLS and the Artemis 1 mission?
I did not see it, but I saw, a little bit of a replay.
Oh, it was unexpectedly moving and spectacular. Like the plume itself from the rocket was like a mile long.
Yes, that's a lot of
It's
pollution, it sounds like, Rose.
well, I no, it's hydrogen and oxygen, so it's mostly ionized gases. It's just water vapor.
Oh, is that
So
right? Is that true?
the first stage is hydrogen and oxygen. The solid rocket boosters they do burn fuel, but yeah, most of the output is just water.
All right.
So
Well, if that's
it's
true, then
just
I,
really
I like water. Water is good.
yeah. The question I wanted to ask was that it took us 11 years at this point, 10 years, a decade to get to this launch, and the program so far has cost around $27.5 billion
Yeah.
in 2022 dollars, right? And I'm just and the reason why we have this is like a 62.5% off of Twitter in like Elon units. So the reason why we have that is because a single senator from the great state of Alabama, Senator Shelby, wanted to save jobs in his state. So we have an entire $27.5 billion program because of him, not because like people at NASA wanted to do this and this was the best technical way forward,
Mhm.
but mostly because of congressional and Senate interference in the process. Have you ever given thought to how we can get past this kind of corruption?
Well, I
Like,
would like to see one of the things in general. I mean, I can't speak to the exact process you're describing because I did not follow it clearly as closely as you did. But one of the things I would prefer to see when it comes to everything in under the umbrella of science, and I would include space exploration there, is if there could be a way to depoliticize some of the decisions. Like, of course, the jobs for a lot of this spending will disproportionately be in some states and not others. There's no real way around that. You're not going to be able to say, let's do space exploration and divide the money equally among 50 states. It's not going to happen. So I know
they
that there will be
actually
some.
do that.
Sorry?
So if you're presenting a contract, like when Boeing presents a contract or even SpaceX, they actually make sure that they have suppliers from all 50 states.
From all.
And
So
they
what do they
have
have from North Dakota for this project?
something from Torque Nuts or something. There's a list of suppliers that
Okay,
I
fair.
was spreadsheet on that.
That's great, but I think the point still stands that you don't have
Yeah,
exactly equal dollar for dollar and job for job division across all
exactly.
50 states. So there's going to be some elected officials that will be more incentivized than others maybe to go with a particular approach. I don't know if
Yes.
we need a nonpartisan advisory committee, which there I'm sure it probably exists at least in some name, but clearly it's not effective enough because you still get these extremely political outcomes. I don't know what it is. It's something that needs to be equivalent to the ways we could draw districts more fairly. But I would love to see more scientists involved in figuring out, rather than doing it this way, which is most appealing to these senators, we should do it this way, which is actually where the most exciting potential rewards exist based on where the science is. And I don't know what the answer is, Rose, as to exactly how you do that.
So in Europe, like CERN, for example, gets a specific inflation-adjusted contribution from member states.
Hmm.
Member states get sent people to their council, which sits on top and like basically votes on spending decisions by CERN. If CERN wants to build a big particle collider. They start decades in advance. Like they've already started for saving money and setting aside debt and financing and everything else for a collider that's going to be built in the 2040s to the 2050s, right? So they plan in like a 30, 40-year time horizon. NASA is constrained by the yearly budget, and they have to spend every single penny in that yearly budget. And they're not allowed to save money. If that makes sense.
Yep, that
Right?
absolutely. That I totally understand that mechanism. I do think that having to plan 30 or 40 years ahead also makes the progress at least seem slower. And I don't know if that will work for an American audience that wants to see action more quickly. But I think we should explore all of these options. And I really appreciate the call, Rose.
Of course. Thanks for taking the call, David. It's
My
always
pleasure.
a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. There is Rose from the United States.